Welcome in, everyone. I'm so thrilled you're here. Today, we are going to take something you probably do, dozens of times a day, and we're going to completely revolutionize how you approach it. We're talking about professional email etiquette. In this explainer, we're going to transform those everyday, kind of mundane email habits into a highly strategic toolkit for your professional success. All right, let's dive right into this. Now, with all the instant messaging apps and fancy project management software out there, you might be wondering, why is email still the undisputed king of workplace communication? Well, workplace email is entirely different from shooting a text to a friend. It remains a uniquely formal, yet incredibly quick medium. It gives us a permanent, easily searchable paper trail, and it safely stores large amounts of content and bulky attachments that other platforms just can't handle with the same reliability. It really is the ultimate professional record. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start off with the purpose and types of emails, move to the anatomy of the header, build the body using the inverted pyramid message, craft the perfect sign-off, and finally, review before sending. All right, Section 1, Purpose and Types. Before your fingers even touch the keyboard, you need to understand exactly why you're sending this message. To figure out your true purpose, you need a mental framework. Think of this as the 4 W's of emailing. Literally make this your instant mental checklist. First up, whom. Exactly who is the audience you intend to deliver this message to? Second, what. What's the core information being shared here? Third, why. Are you sharing this just to keep someone in the loop, or do you actually need them to take action? And finally, when. What is the precise time frame or deadline for that action to be completed? Honestly, if you can't clearly answer these 4 W's, you just aren't ready to start typing. So those intentions basically categorize into 4 distinct types of emails: no reply, inquiry, open-ended, and action. If your purpose is just to share news or drop a quick compliment, well, that's a no reply. You expect absolutely zero action from the receiver. An inquiry asks a specific question to get advice or an answer. An open-ended email keeps communication lines open for future discussions, like, say, announcing a new initiative. And finally, the action email. This one demands completion of a task, like saying, hey, I need the final report by today. Categorizing your email right off the bat like this clarifies the exact outcome you expect from your reader. Moving right along, Section 2, Anatomy of the Header. Let's see how this builds into the actual technical construction of the email itself, starting at the very top. This brings us to the recipient fields. Now, there is a deeply strategic difference between these 3 little boxes. The to field is strictly for your main recipient, the person who actually needs to take action on your message. The CC field is merely for keeping someone informed. They don't need to do anything, just read it. And then there's BCC, the blind carbon copy. The absolute crucial point here is that BCC should be used when you want to protect recipients' privacy, or when you're sending a massive update and want to completely prevent a disastrous company-wide reply all chain reaction. We've all seen those, right? Right beneath your recipients is your subject line. Now listen carefully. The subject line is your critical first impression. It literally dictates whether your email gets opened immediately or pushed to the very bottom of the pile. A perfect subject line must be informative and match the message perfectly. Keep it direct, ideally no more than 4 to 5 words. Use standard sentence case rather than shouting in all caps, and try to build a little curiosity so the reader knows exactly why they need to click. Let's look at a bad example. Consider just using the word meeting. I mean, that is incredibly vague. Which meeting? When is it? Is it urgent? The reader has absolutely no idea. Now look at a highly effective alternative. Reminder, meeting at 10 a.m. on 5th Oct. That changes everything. Before even opening the email, your recipient knows the exact date, the time, and the topic. It's respectful of their time and honestly drastically increases your open rate. Another major pitfall is cramming way too much into one message. Like if you're discussing revisions for a sales report, and you also want to schedule a meeting with the PR department about a totally different ad campaign, please do not put them in the same email. It's like a giant puzzle for the reader. It is far better for organization and clarity to send 2 separate, distinct emails. This allows your recipient to file, forward, or reply to each specific topic without losing information in a cluttered thread. Always, always remember to change your subject line when the context changes. Okay. Section 3, the inverted pyramid message. Now that our header is perfectly constructed, let's shift our focus downward to crafting the actual body. Before you deliver your core message, you really need to open the door politely. Setting the tone with an appropriate salutation like, "Dear Miss Rena," followed by a brief compliment or pleasantry is absolutely essential. Something as simple as, "It was a pleasure meeting you the other day," sets a positive, collaborative tone before you jump straight into business. It humanizes the cold digital screen. But a quick tip here. If you're already deep into a back-and-forth email chain, you can totally drop the formal "dear" in every single reply. It gets a bit repetitive. Once you're past those pleasantries, it's time to structure your thoughts. I want to introduce you to a really effective visual metaphor, the inverted pyramid. Basically, you do a quick mental mind map and then structure your text from the broadest, most critical information down to the smallest detail. Step 1, at the wide top of the pyramid, is your must-have information. You put this in the very first few lines so the recipient cannot possibly miss it. Step 2 is your good-to-have info. That's the context and supporting details. And finally, step 3, down at the narrow bottom point, is the nice-to-include information. You know, the least important additional notes. And right at the very end of that pyramid comes your call for action. Never ever assume your reader knows what to do just by reading your email. People are busy. They skim. You must state the requested action clearly and explicitly. Instead of vaguely hinting at a report, just write, "Could you send the report by EOD?" Eliminate the guesswork by spelling out exactly what you need the other person to do. Moving to section 4, the perfect sign-off. We've built a brilliant message. Now let's look at how to professionally close the loop. Think of your signature as your digital business card. You need closing pleasantries like best wishes or kind regards. Below that, you obviously must sign off with your full name. But a truly complete signature block goes a bit further. It needs your designation, your department, and direct contact numbers, at the very least your desk line. If a colleague reads your email and realizes they need to call you immediately for clarification, they really shouldn't have to hunt through a company directory just to find your extension. Make it effortless for them. And finally, section 5, review before you send. This is the final, high-stakes phase of the whole email lifecycle. Before your cursor even hovers near that send button, you've got to perform these crucial checks. First, look at your formatting. Are there massive walls of text? Break up those long paragraphs to make it skimmable. Second, run the spell checker under the Review tab. Catch those grammatical and punctuation mistakes before they catch you. Third, double-check those addresses in the header to ensure you haven't included anyone unnecessary. And most importantly, take a deep breath and deliberately decide whether you need to click Reply or the highly dangerous Reply All. To round out this explainer, let's do some rapid-fire quick tips derived directly from our source material. Number 1, avoid using all capitals. Seriously, it just looks like you're screaming. 2, skip the emoticons. They kind of detract from your professional authority. 3, avoid jargon and confusing short forms like RGDs. Just keep it clear and simple. 4, do not mark an email as urgent unless the building is literally on fire. Crying wolf will ruin your credibility. And finally, my absolute favorite tip, read your email out loud slowly. Some glaring errors just won't show up in a spell checker, but your ears, they'll catch them instantly. So there you have it. We've broken down the anatomy of the perfect email, from the 4 W's to the inverted pyramid to that final review. As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final provocative question to ask yourself the very next time you draft an email. Before you click send, ask yourself, is this message a masterpiece of clear, structured communication? Are you just contributing more noisy clutter to someone's inbox? Use the framework we discussed today and make every single message count. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.